presentation from Finance.
Good afternoon. Stacey Peterson, Director of Financial Operations. Before you have the proposed ordinance to institute the 1% grocery tax. I'm going to give you just a little bit of information about the grocery tax and why we're enacting it. Back in 1990, the state introduced a tax reform aimed to standardize the collection process, and the 1% grocery tax revenue was collected by the state and distributed to local governments. And this is to serve for various support of operations and essential functions. In August of 2024, the governor signed into legislation revoking the 1% grocery tax and will no longer be collecting it as of January 2026. That legislation also allowed us to, allowed municipalities to institute the 1% grocery tax. By doing this, we have to do that by October 1st. We file that with the state, and the state, once the ordinance is filed with them, they will still continue to collect it for us and then remit it to us just like they're doing now. This legislation is just allowing that to happen. This is not a new tax. This ordinance will continue the practice that has been going on collecting the 1% for the past 35 years. The state is just shifting the implementation of the revenue to municipalities. We could potentially lose approximately $4.5 million if we don't implement this. And this is used for critical public safety and road maintenance and public works, and also community programs. Also, we all know that with the 2020 census that we are potentially losing 4.3 due to the undercount of the census. Attached to the Legistar item, I had attached a frequently asked questions that the DuPage Mayor and Managers Conference had put together. This is a useful tool that we could use to educate some of our constituents. I would also like to show that additionally, IML has on their website information about the grocery tax. They, as of I think June 27th, there's 282 municipalities that are on that list. Now there could be other municipalities that have enacted it and just haven't told IML yet that they have. And also, we did have a question about SNAP benefits. Federal law prohibits the collection of a grocery tax on items that are eligible for SNAP. So individuals that have that program and utilize that would not be taxed on items. And that, if you have any other additional questions, this PowerPoint is also attached to the legislative item as well.
Thank you, Stacey. Did you have anything to add, Mr. Minick?
No, just available for questions as well.
Any questions from the council on this agenda items? Alderman Barrero.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Lesh. I do have a couple of questions. One is, can this be adopted in 2026 and then be effective in 2027, or do we have to do it now? That's my first question. The second question is, what is our fund balance presently, and how would that be impacted by foregoing this for 1 year? During the Finance Committee meeting, I raised a question about our budget cycle. So unfortunately, our budget cycle is later, and we won't get clarity on what our budget picture looks like until approximately when this deadline hits for filing this. So I was just curious about the fund balance situation, if we were able to forego this a year and then pick it up a year later.
If we were to forego the tax, first off, I need to do a little bit more research to understand the window and exactly how the grocery tax is allowed. I had heard at one point that this was kind of almost a one-shot deal that was being allowed at this particular point in time, but I need to clarify that and get that nailed down 100%. Number two, it would be my contention that regardless of whether we have the grocery tax or not, staff is going to work to try to present to the city council a balanced budget. So the fund balance is in accordance with our policies, and right now we are as of the end of the 24 audit, which is when we measure our and do that metric, we are in compliance with the fund balance policy that was enacted several years ago. I would suggest that if we were to forego the grocery tax, that we would need to take other action to make sure that we still present a balanced budget in the general fund and make the city whole, so to speak. What that would mean, though, is potentially service cuts, could be revenue increases in other areas, but there would be an impact in some way, shape, or form.
So just to clarify, I want to make sure I understand your question. You want to know, could we do this in October of 2026 for 2027?
Can we hold it off a year? That's my question.
Okay, so that's a question on the legislation.
Yeah. Yeah. Typically with sales taxes or with a home rule sales tax, you can increase it at 2 points within the year. However, I'm not certain about the grocery tax and whether that was allowed within that specific piece of legislation.
Are there any other questions, members of the council? Alderman Franco.
I have a comment. So we've been painting a picture that we're fiscally challenged right now. So for every $100 of groceries, somebody's going to pay $1 more. It's going to provide us, what, for about $4.5 million?
Correct.
Something like that. Sugar Grove, Montgomery, North Aurora, Batavia, Geneva, Naperville, St. Charles, and Yorkville have all passed this.
Correct.
So I'm just throwing it out there because I think we have to take a more global picture of what this does if we do it, what if it does if we don't do it, who else is doing it, who else is not going to do it, because right now we have 282 municipalities and that list is starting to grow because St. Charles and Naperville aren't on there yet. So I just want to throw that out there because this is it's a significant piece of money for the city. And I look at it through the lens of $1 for every $100 and we're going to get $4.5 million. It doesn't seem like it's a stretch, especially when everybody else is doing it. And there's a reason why 282 communities and more are doing it, because what the state tends to do is they tend to put mandates on us, unfunded mandates, and pass things to the state, to the cities. So they can say what they want about why they're getting rid of us. They would just prefer the municipalities to handle it, which is fine. That's what they do. We understand that. So this is what is happening going forward. We just have to be cognizant of that when we make our decisions. And I just think it would be fiscally, I won't say irresponsible, but it would be challenging for us if we didn't do that for our taxpayers. Now, we got to cut services or put the taxes on the back of property taxes to make up that $4.5 million deficit. Somebody's going to pay it somewhere. So in my mind, many times a consumption tax, a consumer tax, where if I buy it, I pay it. If I don't buy it, I don't have to pay it, whether it be gasoline or food. I know we have to buy food, but I think that would be more of a judicious way to go, as opposed to you're paying on your property taxes and that's it. Not saying it's going to go there, but I'm just saying these are the kind of things we have to take into consideration. So I'm just throwing that out there. Thank you.
Alderwoman Smith.
Perhaps Alderman Franco can clarify, because I was just going through that list there. You're saying St. Charles and Naperville have
They
both
just
passed
passed it,
that?
but it's not on the list yet.
It's just
They
not.
just recently passed it in the newspaper.
How about
so
Oswego and Plainfield?
I don't know about that.
Okay, they're not on the list as well, because I'm a little concerned if the area around
Yeah,
us
so-
or not, the people were going to go there to grocery shop, whether it be $1 per 100, but that is a possibility that could be happening.
Yeah, people tend to go to their grocery store. They tend not to move very much unless they actually physically move their location or something along those lines. But there was the legislation passed some time ago. So there was a group of municipalities that I believe tackled it right away. And now it seems like as we're coming up to the end of the summer and end of the summer already, and starting to get closer to the deadline, that there are additional municipalities, people who haven't address the issue yet are starting to.
Okay, the second part of my question is, Stacey, you said that the payment will still go through the state, and the state will be passing that on to the municipalities?
Yes, just like they do now.
And is there any, because we know our lovely state, are there any cost from the state for passing that through onto us? Do they charge for that service that they will be providing? I'm not sure why it can't come straight to the municipality.
I will have to check on
Will you
that,
check
but
on
I do
that?
know they charge us for the home rule. When they collect the home rule sales
Sure.
tax on our behalf, they do charge us a fee for that as
Right,
well.
it just seems like that possibly could be something that the state would be doing, charging us for that pass-through. I'm pretty sure they're not doing it for nothing.
Right. I can double check just.
Just for a point of clarity, Shannon Cameron, Chief of Staff. Initially, that was in the legislation, but that was removed, that there would be any service fee. So if they are passing on the full amount to the municipalities now.
You know that 100%, that's in writing somewhere.
It is in writing. I can send it on to Alderman.
Yeah.
There was an amendment to that legislation.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the council? Alderman Larson.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess a question about some alternatives. I believe, if I recall correctly, the state is allowing us the option of implementing a grocery tax up to 1%. It doesn't necessarily have to be 1%. Would it be possible to, as an alternative, so we don't have to take a $4.5 million cut right away, but also eventually reduce the tax burden? Would it be possible to write into the legislation a date at which the tax goes down, so it could go down maybe 0.25% each year, and then by 2030 it would be gone? And that would give us more time to get the budget sorted out, and also decrease that tax, especially as people with SNAP benefits are going to be, in some cases, losing it in a couple of years because of decisions by the federal government.
I believe it does have to be 1%, doesn't it?
I'd have to double check to see if we could do that option.
Yeah, the only options I've heard related to the grocery tax so far are in 1% increments, not up to 1%. I believe there is a differentiation between the grocery tax and something like the home rule sales tax, where you can increase it by 0.25%. I am not familiar with a provision that allows that with the grocery tax, at least not at this point. Perhaps that changes at some point along the way. Legislation does tend to have an organic life, and it can change over time. But additionally, you would think that if you can impose it, you can take it away. So there could be, I would gather that there would be a very high likelihood that we would have the ability to sunset it at some point if we would like to.
Okay. I'll just direct that question to legal. If at any point we wanted to get rid of it, I would assume that we would have the ability to get rid of it if we were to identify a windfall revenue stream.
We can get rid of the tax at any point. I was just trying to look, because I believe you're correct about the 1%. I was trying to,
Yeah.
of course, I'm pulling up a bill that's 200 pages long, so I'm not going to find it right now, but I can definitely double check that. But my memory of it is that it was a it was a take it or leave it. You could either,
Yeah.
it was 1% or nothing.
That's my recollection as well.
Yeah, I'm not going to find it in the 200 pages right this second, but I can follow up with that later.
Okay,
Just to double
yeah.
check, but that's my memory of the grocery tax, is that it's 1% or nothing.
Mhm. Yeah, I was just wondering if we could get it in an ordinance so it has a set date rather than a speculative date.
And we may also, because it is going to be collected by the state, we may have to adhere to their deadlines to change it or remove it. So in other words, we may not be able to change the rate, but if we were to remove it, typically the state only allows changes to taxes that it collects and remits to localities 2 times per year. So we may have to fall into those timelines in the future. That's going to be something that's going to be determined as the tax goes along.
Are there any other questions? Okay, this item will go on unfinished business. We'll move to the next agenda item.